And John Ford in The Fabelmans is played by David Lynch. And I think that is a statement from Spielberg about what Spielberg is really like. Like, I know that I'm a super popular, very successful mainstream filmmaker, but I think you should start looking at my movies as if I'm a different kind of personality.
I'm not going to be Ron Howard.
Yeah, he's not Ron Howard. And God bless Ron Howard.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the CG Garage. This is episode number 557, which is going to be Daniel and I discussing one of our Moonshine Drive-In episodes where we discuss Disclosure Day by Mr. Steven Spielberg, a movie that came out just a few weeks ago, to be honest, and already some people seem to have forgotten about it, but we still think it's a very important film, and more specifically, we think that Mr. Steven Spielberg is a highly underrated person and highly misunderstood. I think most people think of him as a mainstream director when, in fact, we believe that he is not. He's actually a very interesting and odd and kind of bizarre film director that has a lot of hidden messages inside of his films that may have been missed by many people. Anyway, just listen to the episode and we would love to hear what you guys think. So please make sure and comment on what we're thinking about. And just, let us know in the comments. I do want to give a big shout out to our very good friend, Mr. Matthew Butler, who was the VFX supervisor on this movie, and he did an absolutely fantastic job. I absolutely love Matthew. He was the first VFX supervisor that I ever worked with on Day After Tomorrow, and he is incredibly talented and such a nice person, arguably one of the nicest people I've ever met in visual effects. So really congratulations, Matthew, and amazing work on Disclosure Day. In terms of announcements, I will be at SIGGRAPH, as this episode comes out, SIGGRAPH has already started. So if you are at SIGGRAPH, you probably stop listening to podcasts and go to all the talks. But before you stop listening, make sure to go to my talk, which will be on the 21st, which is a Tuesday, at 10 a.m. And I will be talking about June, July, our use of Gaussian splats in Arena, and a lot more. So it's going to be a pretty great talk, and hopefully I will see you guys there. Don't have any other announcements except to let you guys know that you guys should join our Discord if you haven't done so already. It is just at cggarage.com/Discord, and I'll redirect you to our Monstrous Moonshine Discord, where we discuss all things Monstrous Moonshine, including the podcast itself. Lots of heated discussions going on right now, which is kind of interesting and fun. But for now, please enjoy episode number 557 with Disclosure Day.
This episode of CG Garage is sponsored by Centergrid Virtual Studio. Wondering why you went to film school just to be stuck managing hardware life cycles? Centergrid delivers end-to-end GPU-accelerated cloud workstations built specifically for VFX and creative production, with flat, predictable pricing and personalized support from people who actually get your workflow. Plus, Centergrid is TPN Gold Shield certified, so your studio's security is locked down. Check out what Virtual Studio can do for your pipeline at cgvirtualstudio.com.
All right, Daniel. How are you, Dad?
I'm good. Good. How's the 4th of July for you?
4th of July was nice. There was, we had people over because of the fires that we've had in Los Angeles. The city of Burbank decided to do a drone show instead of fireworks.
Oh, right. Like they do in China with the thousands of, they do like the big monsters and the whatever and all animated.
Yes. Now, I'm going to say this was not that.
Someone more subdued?
Well, listen, I appreciate the effort, but it really looked like clip art that your secretary would put into your PowerPoint in 1995. It was slow and it was okay. But I'm like, bring back the fireworks.
Yeah, I know you don't want to burn the town down or anything, but let's spark it up a little bit.
For the 250th.
Yeah.
Anyway, maybe 251st will be a little better. Anyway.
Clippy the paperclip comes out and he's like, it looks like you're trying to have a drone show.
That's exactly. Oh my God, Clippy coming out. Exactly. It was all good. Otherwise, it was fun. My nephew's been here, as you know, and he's a big cinephile. We got to do it. Today, I went on a big tour with him We went to the ASC to see Richard. He got to see all the amazing cameras.
Oh, you went to the clubhouse. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's super cool.
So he got to see that. And if that wasn't overwhelming enough, then I took him to ISS, to the Independent Studio Services, the Prop House.
Yep.
Saw the whole tour, including
ISS has literally anything you can think of as a prop.
And more, because today we went into the Armory, which is locked off, where the real guns are.
All the real actual guns, where they have taken real guns and modified them into space guns, but they still fire real bullets and shit.
Yes.
Yeah, it's real wild. It's really wild.
Yes, it was. They did not have Dirty Harry's gun there, but we did see Rambo's gun.
There you go.
There you go. So, I mean, these are significant weapons that were used.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was awesome. It was good to see all that stuff. And, honestly, it's very educational. I think I should have Hayden on. Hayden is third generation, right? His grandfather started ISS, and he there's a lot of things that I think people would appreciate the education of what that is.
I mean, like the history of that. Like the history of that place is the history of movies, and
it is, but I'm just
really,
saying
really
more specifically, like, do you know that bags have to be quiet for sound, that kind of things, right? Like, and what they use to snort cocaine in movies is actually lactose powder, right? So because you can safely, sniff that and not be affected by it. And so all these things that you never knew about is fascinating, and then there was guns that were fake money, right? Like all of that stuff. Where did that come from?
Tons of fake money, sure, exactly.
Mm-hmm. So I think there's a lot of things that people can learn about from Hayden. I think I'm going to see if he wants to be on. He's such a nice guy. I really, really appreciate the guys at ISS. Because that's where we shot our thing for June, July there, and it's a really amazing place.
Yeah, went incredibly well. Everyone there super kind, very helpful, awesome time. Yeah, for sure.
I want to work with them a lot because they're just so. They're into it, which is also amazing. Yep. Okay, we got a movie to discuss, which is interesting. I never thought that this would be a somewhat controversial movie.
This is a weirdly controversial. When I say weirdly, I'm just like, people are angry about this movie. Like, people are like, either you really like this movie, or you're really, really, really mad about this movie.
But it seems so odd to be mad about this movie.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I mean, like, because it's like, it is I can see not liking the movie. That's okay.
Sure.
It's fine. No, I mean, if you don't like a movie, you don't like a movie. No big deal. But something went sideways in the discussion of this picture, and it's hard to have a conversation about it that isn't fraught, and I don't exactly understand.
Do you think it's something to do with the fact that everyone has to have a strong opinion and they just get themselves all riled up for no reason?
Yeah, I think that's definitely part of it. I think which is interesting because, as you know, like this, my interpretation of what this movie means has something to do with that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, I do have an appreciation for Spielberg because I think absolutely every movie he makes, the thing, and this is true of this movie especially, feels like a standard kind of movie, but it's got this weird underlying something else happening.
Weird. Yeah. Like, right? Now, I would also say, I don't know if this is true for you, but like, I was always a little aware of this, especially in recent years. But with his movie about his childhood, Fabelmans, like, it made me go back and sort of reappraise a lot of his movies, and maybe movies I stone cold love that are absolute classics.
Right.
And it made me see things in these movies that I did not see before. Like, I was like, this guy has been secretly weird his whole career. Like, since early times.
He had a strange childhood, right?
Strange childhood. And Fabelmans makes it quite clear. Like, to give the audience my quick read on Fabelmans, which is a movie I really like. Like, Fabelmans fits into the same bunch of movies, and I think this one does as well. Disclosure Day is what we're talking about, by the way. That since 2000, Spielberg has been making really strange, sometimes lumpy, sometimes kind of cockeyed and not totally together movies, but they're all really interesting, very weird movies, tonally strange movies.
Right.
And since at least his movie AI. And I think that Fabelmans, as sort of glossy and sort of classic mid-'80s Spielberg as it seems on the surface, that movie is extremely revealing of how weird he is as an artist and how aware of how weird he is, right? To the point of at the end of the movie, and this doesn't give anything away, but at the end of the movie, the young Spielberg analog, the kid, right, ends up meeting John Ford, right? And John Ford is one of the all-time great American filmmakers, changed American film, and one of the most popular American filmmakers of all time.
Sure.
Directed a zillion movies, most of them Westerns, and he's not not sort of remembered much today, but like he was massive during Spielberg's youth and thought of as the Spielberg of his day, right? And John Ford in The Fabelmans is played by David Lynch. And I think that is a statement from Spielberg about what Spielberg is really like. Like, I know that I'm a super popular, very successful mainstream filmmaker, but I think you should start looking at my movies as if I'm a different kind of personality. Like, I'm a weirdo. And I have strange things to say and strange ways to say them. And I've been kind of hiding it for a while, but I'm not going to hide it anymore.
I'm not going to be Ron Howard.
Yeah, he's not Ron Howard. And God bless Ron Howard. By the way, I love Ron Howard.
No problem with Ron Howard.
I think he's,
I'm just putting it in context.
But I think that's a great point, because people think of Ron Howard, right, as a Spielbergian director, right? He's of that mold, right? And what Ron Howard truly is possibly the best studio director of all time. Right. That isn't what Spielberg is.
Right.
Like, Spielberg is a really weird indie director who got famous early and has been able to do whatever he wants since then. Right. And he's been able to sort of hide that for most of his career, but at some point he decided to stop hiding it. And it makes his movies more divisive, as we'll talk about with this one. But to me, it just makes his movies more interesting. And now they're getting retroactively interesting once you start seeing it. It's a really wild ride. What is your journey with Spielberg personally? Like, for his movies, like, because we've all been watching these things our whole lives. Like, where do you start with him?
Well, I mean, my first Spielberg-y experience, might have been Indiana Jones.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the one that really resonated with me was Close Encounters. Yeah. Right. So that was, and that is a weird film, right?
Super weird, subtly, powerfully weird.
And the family infrastructure and the is weird, right? Yeah. Which is an important part of his narrative, is weird family stuff.
Yeah. Breaking up of families, like,
and then having
chasing your dreams at all costs.
Sure, and he did not direct, but he probably backseat directed Poltergeist, right?
Right. He certainly has a very strong creative hand in Poltergeist.
That is a fucked up family.
It's fucked up. It's wild,
and
it's a wild movie.
I didn't realize how messed up it was until
he wrote the screenplay to that too. Right. That's one of the few things he actually wrote.
I didn't know how messed up it was until I rewatched it recently, because I watched it as a kid. I was like, I'm just here for the ghosts, right?
Yeah, sure.
But then when I originally was like, wait, the mother and father are odd. And
it's fucking, that movie, I'm just going to go off on a riff. That is one of my favorite 80s movies, and it is totally underappreciated. That is one of the great movies of the 80s.
I think it's appreciated,
incredible.
But it's not appriciated for the same reasons.
People, they stack it up with great horror movies of the 80s. I'm like, no, this is a great movie of the 80s.
Yeah.
Like, this is a truly strange, brilliantly made film that happens to be a very entertaining haunted
That's what I think
movie.
About when I think about Spielberg is that he frames it as, oh, this is a horror film. Oh, this is a, look at Disclosure Day. It's like, oh, this is going to be Close Encounters again, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
And Close Encounters is well, it's not
And Close Encounters isn't Close Encounters.
Close Encounters isn't Close Encounters, and this is not Close Encounters.
Right.
And I think that's the thing is like people went in there and they're like, and I think the misinterpret. You can like because I actually haven't been reading what people have been saying about this, so you can tell me about it. But I look at this and I was like, people are going to see this and go, oh, it's just the same old aliens, it's the same old Roswell, it's the same old blah 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 blah, and it's not, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing that he puts underneath everything that's a little odd. Now, I don't always think that, I don't know. I think I love, this is one of the reasons you and I get along so well, is like, I love how you interpret movies, even though it's not necessarily what I believe to be true, but that's not the point of an interpretation. Interpretation is an interpretation, right? So if you look at, for example, War of the Worlds, and you say the ending of War of the Worlds is actually the beginning of Wizard of Oz, which is what your interpretation is. It's a great interpretation. I don't know if that's true or not.
Who knows?
Who
it's
knows?
True to me.
But it is true to you, and you even give me frames to prove your point, which I think is fantastic. And your interpretation of AI, I don't necessarily believe it, but I believe, and then I'm almost convinced with your interpretation of Minority Report, where he's been dead.
Those three movies.
Spoiler alert! All of these movies are. He's been dead all third act.
Like the third act of AI, Minority Report, and War of the Worlds is a dream in all cases. That's my pitch, and I can do the very quick version of that right now. Okay, so as long as you're familiar with the movie, you'll know what I'm talking about. Right. In War of the Worlds, Tom Cruise. First of all, this movie is an incredible. Like watching it now with some hindsight, like it's an incredible, extremely prescient work of art about 9/11 trauma and how it fucked up generations of people. Sure. And because Tom Cruise is the Gen X father in the movie, right? And classically Gen X latchkey kids, like we weren't parented particularly attentively and let to,
So we don't really know how to parent our own
so
kids.
we don't really know how to parent, right? We're not super good at parenting. Tom Cruise is terrible at parenting in that movie, right? And he's just like, there's, like all the scenes where he has to take care of the kids for the weekend because he's already divorced, right? He's just like, he tells Dakota Fanning, like, where the fucking menus are. Call it in yourself. Classic Gen X parenting right there. Like, just figure it out yourself. Which, like, it to a certain extent leaves, like Dakota Fanning is very self-directing, right? Sure. And because she's used, like, my dad he's not really very much of a dad, And then her older brother, Robbie, is really pissed off that he's not a dad because he doesn't have he doesn't know masculine force in his life. He's like, you're a fucking idiot. Like, he's just telling it to his face, Right. And so Tom Cruise starts off as a incompetent father, not an unlikable guy, like a nice guy who loves his kids and wants to be a good dad, but doesn't know how to do it. Apocalypse hits, i.e. 9/11 happens, right? And Tom Cruise not only doesn't know what to do as a person, and virtually nobody knew what to do, but he hasn't given his kids any tools to work with, and he doesn't know how to help them as they're flipping out. All he knows how to do is pack them in the car and run as they are screaming, and she's like, I want to get to someplace safe. I am terrified. And his son is saying, well, why aren't you essentially manning up and doing something to defend us, right? Tom Cruise doesn't know how to do either of these things. He's flailing for the first 3/4 of the movie. Those two kids, are millennials, and their twin problems. One, Dakota Fanning, is extraordinarily distrustful of everything and talks about needing a safe space so she can work all these stresses out, right? Because she has no parents, right? And doesn't know how to move into adulthood because she's in a panicked little box. And like, a safe space is not going to protect you from aliens destroying the world. So Robbie, it becomes like a Joe Rogan follower He becomes this super masculine, like, you know, fuck the rest of the world. Like, we should stand up and fight. And just like he becomes this like toxic masculine caricature.
What's happened to a lot of
This is what
men.
happened to these kids. Like generationally, that's exactly what happened. So War of the Worlds is really aware of this, understands what it's about, shows you tons of 9/11 imagery galore, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in the end of the movie, like, you run up against Tim Robbins, Robbie's already gone, and Dakota Fanning and Tom Cruise are alone in the basement of the house with Tim Robbins, who's crazy. And in order to save himself and Dakota Fanning, Tom Cruise finally has to act. And the one thing he does is he kills Tim Robbins. And both him and Dakota Fanning are devastated that this has happened. Like, they're like, what has life come to that I had to kill another human being just to stay alive, right? They are traumatized. They go to sleep. Tom Cruise suddenly wakes up to Dakota Fanning screaming, right? And she is, she's being taken out of the house by one of the alien, tentacles, as in a way that we have already just seen, right? And just swooped out of the house. And Tom Cruise goes running out the door. The shot of him running out the door into the red weed coated world. As soon as I saw it, I was like, I have seen this shot before. What the fuck have I seen this shot? You've seen this shot when Dorothy enters Oz through the door, and it goes from black and white to color in The Wizard of Oz. Wizard of Oz, spoiler alert, is a dream. He just went to sleep, and now he is woken up into a dream where suddenly he is an action hero who saves people personally from Martians. Like, he saves his daughter, fights off the bad guys, and then for some reason they all die, and he gets to go back home, and his son's alive, and his pregnant wife is fine, and her new boyfriend's in the background somewhere, but his son walks out and he's wearing the same shitty clothes he was wearing when he last saw him, and everything's happy. Yeah, that does not happen. There's no chance that that's true at all. And people that read the movie rightly, when they say, like, oh, if they read it as this is supposed to happen, they get mad. They're like, that's dumb. And I agree with you, that's dumb. Because that's Tom Cruise's fantasy of what he wishes would come true. When those two are dead in the house.
Right. And the same thing can be interpreted in terms of Minority Report when he goes into the jail cell where he's supposed to be in a sustained coma. Right. It's probably the rest of that is it.
Yeah, like they tell you in the jailer, when he's like, what happens to these guys in this jail? Oh, well, they just have a fantasy of everything working out for them, says the jailer. And then Tom Cruise gets haloed, goes to jail, and then the next line you hear is Max von Sydow saying, it's all my fault. And he's revealed as the villain. And then Tom Cruise's wife is pregnant and everything's fine. And you're just like, no, guys, no. That did not happen.
So that's the thing that's interesting, right? Because if Spielberg does that, right, which if you're near pressure, why doesn't he say it? Why does he leave it up to Dan Thrawn to figure it out and no one else to figure it out? This is the curious
bit. Okay, because I also want to quickly throw in the end of AI when he's pinned under the concrete angel. Right. This is really the most this is the most telling one once you see the Fabelmans, is like the memory of Spielberg's mother absolutely dominates Spielberg's life creatively. Both his parents, but definitely his mother. And the concrete angel, the blue angel that is pinning his ship underwater in AI, at the end, in the end of the second act of AI, is where Spielberg is as a person.
Right.
That is his actuality. And in my view of AI, like, the third act is a dream because the kid basically goes unconscious underwater after 1,000 years. And then he dreams of a world where there's no fucking pesky humans to compete with his love. Right. And like the only thing that are around are these mecha robot servants that their single superpower is they can recreate his mom, which happens to be the thing that he wants.
Right.
And if you see the Fabelmans, like, wants in an unclear and uncomfortable way.
Right.
Like in the Fabelmans, there's the big dance sequence where she's dancing, the mom is dancing in front of the car lights, and you can see her whole body, and it's very sexualized. And I'm like, that's fucking wild that Spielberg's putting this on film. Like, I'm fucked up about my mom. Like, that's what he's saying. Like, it's weird. And so, like, this is his creative space he is in jail. He has murdered someone at the bottom of a house. He is pinned under a concrete vision of his mother at the bottom of the sea. And the only way for him to escape is movies.
Right.
And the fantasy of movies. This is the dream that allows him out of the prison and fear of where he was as a kid. Right? That's what the Fabelmans says, and that's what those movies show us. Right? And and now when you have that in mind and you watch Close Encounters, it's a different experience.
Right.
You know?
And when you watch this single mom in that one, that's a little odd. And then there's
E.T., another one where you're like, what the hell is happening here, man?
Yeah, a lot of single mom stuff and weird stuff.
And and so that brings me to Disclosure Day, because Disclosure Day's third act is the same gag.
All right, let's go through all of Disclosure Day. So let's start with how it's a classic Spielberg and what it does from there.
Well, you and I talked about it's like the big reference I think in this movie is Sugarland Express.
Sugarland Express, yes.
Right. This is a chase movie.
It's a chase movie.
Yeah. And
which is a great film, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, it's awesome. Goldie Hawn, what's his name? Who plays the bad guy in Ghostbusters, but he's really nice in Sugarland Express.
Right.
Is terrific. And it's a really well done, heartfelt, like kind of Goldie Hawn goofy vehicle to begin with, and then slowly turns into this almost Terrence Malick-y. Not Terrence Malick, rather, almost Michael Cimino-y Vision of America movie, you know, and so it has notes. In the end, it has notes of that you also find in Thunderbolt and Lightfoot and stuff like that, where it's like, yeah, this has been funny this whole time, but now it's not funny anymore. Like it's like that sort of drains out of it. And so like that, and that fits in, and then essentially that fits in like the third act.
Same with Sugarland Express. It's all like, woo, we're getting away. It's kind of funny.
And then it
gets really sad.
Really sad. Like really sad. And so the structure of this movie from the get-go, from the opening scene in The Disclosure Day, is a chase movie. We're in the middle of a chase. Right. Like, yeah, like it's the ending of some other movie that we started in, where it's just like, here's this guy who's already stolen secrets, and the government's after him, and like the chase begins like within the first 3 minutes of the film.
Right.
And then it's off to the races the entire time. And so like in one hand, it's a classic, sort of fun Spielberg adventure chase film. You know? And it's really entertaining. It's hugely entertaining.
Yes.
It's got great set piece action scenes, and it's got all those summer movie elements.
It's got great chase scenes.
Oh, it's awesome. It's just awesome. And like to see that this dude at his age is able to pull off these like super inventive, really fun, like he's putting other action directors today to shame in this movie. Like,
oh my God.
Left and right. Like, this is not a fucking superhero movie. This is a real action film.
Let's just talk about that for a second, because there's one sequence which we all are aware of, which is the train sequence, right? And you've seen that gag being done or something like that in other films, and they always are so over the top that they don't feel dangerous.
Yeah. Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
This one is like, oh, what if it was shot? What if something like this really happened to you? It'd be fucking scary.
Yeah. It pitches it right in the so like, it's a fun movie, but you're like, you really feel like this could go a couple of different ways.
Yeah.
Like this is not a fait accompli. Like one of these characters might get killed and the movie would still work.
And it's just the way the camera's shaking up and down as the car's banging up against the train, and it's pinned there, and she's trying to make the jump, and that jump looks, I don't know if I could do that jump, and it's like you're moving along in this track.
Great physical stuff, man. So
and someone's trying to shoot you while you're doing this, so you have to do this. And it's you've seen it done a million ways, but somehow the way it's shot, the way it's directed, the way it's edited, it's way more correctly anxiety inducing.
I want to ping this particular part because I thought that scene was spectacular. I thought it was great. Yeah. And like clearly they, like I'm sure the scene is like shot on green screen and all sorts of effects and all that stuff is going on. But the reason why it's great is because the filmmaking is great.
Yes.
Like the reason why it's compelling and dangerous is because the filmmaking is compelling and dangerous. Like that's why it's working. It's not because.
And what we mean by filmmaking, we mean all aspects of filmmaking, including the CG and everything else.
Yep.
Right?
Everything is working together,
right,
to sell you on the trick and to get you emotionally involved and to make you gasp, and like everybody, the editor, everybody is doing it correctly.
Big shout out to our good friend, Mr. Matthew Butler, and all of his entire visual effects teams.
Yeah, these guys are geniuses.
Who did that?
Right. We've worked with him a million times, and this is
my first movie I ever worked on was Day After Tomorrow, and Matthew Butler was the VFX supervisor on it at DD. Yeah. And he was a fantastic person. I will say that Matthew being Matthew, he actually had a background. I believe he worked for JPL. He was a rocket scientist, right? So that was his background before he went into visual effects. So he is a passionate science person, as you can imagine.
Right.
So working on a Spielberg alien film to him is just...
That's a dream come true.
That is a dream come true, I'm sure.
It's
and I'm sure that he would sit there and he would talk. I'm sure he had discussions with Spielberg about how this would actually work and how this
If I were to talk to Spielberg about space alien movies, like I would disassociate. I'd be so excited.
Right.
I can't even imagine.
I remember having long discussions with Matthew Butler about why lens flares don't motion blur or don't seem to motion blur.
Right. That's interesting.
Right? Because they are blurring. They just don't look like a motion blur the way that you think of a motion blur.
The way that, because light
you
is
don't
a whole
see a
different
ring
deal.
that slides across the screen when you do it, but it's different.
Right.
It's very
wacko,
odd.
Man. Yeah, that's wacko.
So anyway, it's fascinating. But Matthew, is a great. Anyway, back to the story. So this is a big chase scene. There is a lot of Sugarland Express in here, right? And there's Goldie. So you replace Goldie Hawn with what's her name? Who plays the main protagonist?
Emily Blunt.
Emily Blunt, right? Who? It's got to be one of her best performances.
She is terrific in this movie.
She is so good.
This is in the same, because my favorite performance from her outside of this is Sicario, where she is stone cold and incredibly good. And this is the opposite. Like she's going way to the other end of the field in this movie, and because as you bring up Goldie Hawn, she really is playing a Goldie Hawn character in this. Like she's a goofy character to start out with.
She is,
and so she's like this sort of and this is it's hard to sell people on this, but the way this character tracks and the way that she tracks the changes in this character are the most important part of the movie, right? Because she starts in very caricature, two-dimensional goofball land.
Yeah, she's a weather girl in Kansas City.
Yeah, and it's and she's like in a rom-com to start with, right? And she's doing it right. She's entertaining, she's funny, she's fun. She's hitting all her marks for that character in that role, right? But that character does not remain that character. Like that character expands outward into this really weird, deep character,
right?
And her job,
she goes through a Richard Dreyfuss transformation. Yes.
Yeah. Like as she is exposed to what is happening, she becomes a deeper, richer, more interesting character to watch, right? And then that spreads beyond the boundaries of her character, which is the most powerful and interesting and bizarre element of the film.
Sure.
Right? And so,
because the guy, he doesn't go through the same transformation. He just becomes the narrative for us.
Right. Well, yeah, exactly. Because
he's explaining to us what's happening.
Right. He is because as per Spielberg's parents, the famously on Inside the Actor's Studio when the interviewer was asking Spielberg about Close Encounters, and he's like, so he does so your mother was a musician. and your
what's his
father,
name?
whatever, you remember the guy, and and he's like, your mother was a musician, and your father was a scientist. You made Close Encounters. How is that connected? And you see Spielberg go, oh shit, he figured it out. Everyone reads that. To me, everyone reads that as that this was revealed to Spielberg, and Spielberg never occurred to Spielberg. Right. I think, and this is just my supposition, I'm never going to get to talk to Spielberg, so I'll never know. Sure. But my bet is that he already knew this. Sure. I think he was already but what he was doing was hiding his cards.
Right.
Like, he's like, this is about these things that are personal to me, and I'm going to keep them personal to me. And when
but somehow I'm going to make a movie seen by billions of people.
A billion people. Yeah. And make it work. And when he got called on that, like, I think the shock is like, oh shit. I got to figure it out. And it's part of what happens to him to change the kinds of movies he makes.
Sure.
And because there's an evolution between, James Lipton. That's it. It finally came back around in my head. James Lipton. And between James Lipton's sort of outing of Spielberg's intention, and Spielberg's work with Stanley Kubrick, he becomes a very, very different creative force in his own work.
So that's the interesting thing, right? Because obviously AI was supposed to be done by Kubrick, and then Spielberg took over, right? That was the whole point of that. So I think when he says you have to step into Kubrick's shoes,
Kubrick always wanted Spielberg to direct AI. Like, there wasn't a different version where Kubrick directs AI.
Right.
Like, Kubrick would have directed AI if Spielberg didn't bite. But the idea was, like, for what Kubrick wanted to say, which is essentially, because, like, they were friends since The Shining. He met him on the set of The Shining. Mm-hmm. But in their discussions, like, Kubrick was always like, this is the movie you really need to make, and I think that Kubrick knew innately that if Kubrick made AI, people would know the joke going in. Like, you go into a Stanley Kubrick movie and you're going to get some bleak vision of humanity. Like, that's what he does.
So you think he wanted Spielberg to do it to disguise?
To hide it.
To hide it.
Yeah. Yeah. Because, like, first of all, I think as his friend, he wanted him to be more self-reflective as an artist. Because Kubrick's idea of like what was happening, like what Spielberg's effect was on the industry is what AI criticizes. Like, it's like, look at the consumerism that your brand of entertainment has fostered.
Right.
This
Jurassic
is
Park, all that stuff. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, this is and this is not a net positive effect on the culture. At least I'm speculating as to what Kubrick would think, Right. And I think that he encouraged Spielberg to if you were to make a movie that was still in your Spielbergy way, tried to make something closer to what I am saying, Stanley Kubrick, then you'd have something very special and very unnerving.
Right.
And
so it's almost like you're making a Kubrick film, but disguising it as a Ron Howard film.
Yes, exactly. Or you're much like, say, for instance, you are casting David Lynch as John Ford. There's a hidden pill in this sugar.
Right.
And I think that that's what makes AI so particularly upsetting for people, because even when it came out, people are like, now it's sort of universal, like, oh yes, a great work of art. Like, people did not like AI when it came out.
Right.
Like, at all. Like, I remember it. People are just like, that sucked. Like, I don't know what that was. That sucked.
I had problems with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of people did.
Yeah.
It's a weird movie. It's a very, very strange, ugly, mean film, in my opinion. And I love it. I loved it. I did love it when I hate to be the guy like, oh, I loved it since it came out. But I did love it when it came out. But from the get-go, I was like, that's not the movie it seems to be. Like, that is not a nice movie about a sweet little kid. That's a movie about a narcissistic monster who's destroying the life of everyone he touches. Like, and only fantasizes of, a world in which he doesn't have to deal with anybody else except experience the glowing light of his mother. Yeah, that's a self-critical film in the extreme. And I think that it's an incredibly bleak, ugly, like, he uses the Spielberg glowiness but shoots it through Janusz Kaminski, who shot Saving Private Ryan. And this is where like he creates that fucking the weird look that he's been making, where it's like kind of chrome, like it's Spielbergy but dark and high contrast and kind of has sharp edges all over the place. Like that's the Janusz Kaminski look. And he's been working with him ever since. And I think that he found his zone with that vibe, and he's been digging deeper and deeper into it, even in his most pop films.
Right.
But AI is the root of that stuff. And I feel like this movie has this movie, Disclosure Day, almost is is the sort of positive bookend to AI more than it is anything else. Like it's referencing a lot of his old movies. It uses the structure of Sugarland Express. It says like it takes this character on a journey from Goldie Hawn, pop silliness to sadness. And then it really examines the sadness. It's just like, why are we so fucking sad? Like we are sad. Like what are we doing that is making us so sad? We are Colin Firth's character represents everybody who is afraid of everyone else.
Right.
And I think that the things that people are pointing out as flaws in the movie are actually there to highlight the strangeness of our own world. Like the movie.
Let's go through that. What are people identifying in this movie that's making them upset?
Well, there's a couple. I'm going to talk about the surface thing first. One is that people are upset with that this is not realistic. This is not the way. Like this is not the way that we react to anything. Like what is this whole bullshit about? Like trying to put the information out through a news channel, like that would be trusted. Like nobody would trust anything coming from that. And like I agree with all of that. And since it's so thorough in the film, maybe this is part of what it's asking us to think about. Like there's a weird alternate reality question to this movie.
Right.
Like there's a flavor of like, it feels almost kind of like it's in the 90s, I guess.
Well, the last part when they're all trying to broadcast this across the whole globe, it feels like the last part of Close Encounters where they're trying to communicate with the aliens. Right. And they're all talking over each other, trying to figure out how to make this work.
And they spend a huge amount of time on this. And what I thought was like, there's so many brilliant little touches in this movie that I was just knocked out by.
Right.
Like that whole last frame, it's not like they just go, and then everyone saw the space stuff and they all believed it. Like he spends like 20 minutes, like through the point of view of a newscaster you've never met, looking at footage
that he's never seen or she's never seen.
Yeah, and that we also know has been made for the movie. Like we're aware that this is made for the movie by that point for many reasons. And so we're watching this and we know, I mean, like as an audience, we know what we're watching is artificial because we know aliens have been discovered. This is not real, right?
Right.
At the same time, the emotional core of the movie is this newscaster and not Emily Blunt.
Right.
It is a different newscaster who we don't know.
We've never seen this person.
We haven't seen this character. And she's suddenly like spotlighted and she goes through this weird transformation of emotion. This is like this. I was just like, this is fucking radical filmmaking. And it's just going right by for people. You know, they're just like, why are we spending so long on this scene? Like, I'm like, this guy's been making movies for 50 years. Like, think for a second that maybe he has outwitted you. Maybe he's doing something that he thinks it's worth thinking about. You know, that he's hidden these weird things throughout his movies for years and years and years that you only discover later after watching them 100 times. So when you see like suddenly we spend an awful lot of time on a character you've never met and watching them emotionally transform, which mimics exactly what you just saw with Emily Blunt, who is also playing a newscaster.
Right.
Right. Like there's something going on there. There's a mechanism.
But do you
that's
think
happening.
it's fair though? Because people go, I think that's the problem. This is the thing that he's trying to overcome, right? If he wants to be an art filmmaker with its strange interpretation, he can't put it under this disguise that I'm going to make a popcorn film.
Yes. This is his constant trouble because
he's
like
making
now,
popcorn films. Right?
Yes. Right. I agree.
But I don't know. Like there's something, I always had this problem. I don't know, right? Because I
agree. I hear where you're coming from. It's totally great.
I don't know because I watched, Ready Player One, right? I think the movie's
I did not enjoy that movie. I
think that movie's fine, right? It's if you watch it like you're watching Transformers or whatever, it's fine. Okay. I read the book, right?
Yeah.
As you know, and you've come to see my way on this, I am sick of 80s nostalgia, right?
Oh, yeah.
I think it is the death of what happened to filmmaking because we keep trying to bring in 80s nostalgia.
You don't get any points for remembering you liked something.
For the entirety of Ready Player One is member berries, right?
Absolutely true. And my question, this is just a question,
sure,
right, is that the feeling I get watching that movie, because I also did not enjoy that movie, and it made me angry in the same way it made you angry, right?
Well, the book made me even angry. Here's the thing. The book made me even angrier because the book was all like nostalgia, like
it's just porn,
aggressively nostalgic.
Yeah, it's just nostalgia porn. Right?
And so, but the one of the most important characters in that book is actually Spielberg himself in the book. Because they all talk about Spielberg movies, right? They all talk about E.T. They all talk about all these Spielberg films because that was the epitome of the movie experience from the 1980s that they're trying to recreate.
Back to the Future, et cetera, right?
When you get Spielberg himself to direct a movie about his own nostalgia, it's bizarre.
I'm with you. And so my question, and the thing is, I have not resolved this question myself. I'm still dealing because I really didn't like that movie at all.
He like almost takes The Shining, one of the most important films of our day.
This is absolutely key.
And turns it into a joke.
Yes, like this is
which a lot of people
key.
have done, but Spielberg doing that?
This is absolutely key, and why I am like I still cannot make it all the way through that movie. I find it so grating, so horribly grating because of what you're describing, right?
Right.
But through the lens of AI, through the lens of Minority Report, especially AI, but the way that he's like, I am secretly criticizing this thing that I'm showing you with glowing colors, right? Like,
okay,
is he doing? And I suspect the answer is yes. Is he doing the same thing with Ready Player One? Because there is, for instance, if you look at Paul Verhoeven, one of my favorite directors of the 80s, Paul Verhoeven, outside of the United States, makes nothing but your great European art film, right? Inside the United States, he made RoboCop, Total Recall, and Starship Troopers, right? And especially Starship Troopers, when it was released, almost nobody understood that was a very bitter comedy. Like they took it on at absolute face value.
It's an anti. Well, when
it's a pure anti-Nazi screed.
It's a pure anti-Nazi screening. Everyone's like, yay, and then the same thing happens with Fight Club. Completely misinterpreted.
Yes. Utterly misread this movie.
Right.
This is an anti-Nazi. This is 100% blazingly anti-Nazi.
Right.
Same with
RoboCop.
In the broadest possible sense, right? And it's super clear to see it now, but that's not how people saw it when it first came out.
No.
And these are incredible works of art, these films. So, and Total Recall is anti-capitalism. And so that's what these movies are. But if you were to ask Paul Verhoeven what his favorite work that he did, and he's very honest about it because he says his worst movie in America was the Kevin Bacon Invisible Man movie. I agree with him. That's just not a very good movie.
Right.
But he says his finest work of art in America is Showgirls.
Right.
Right. And I have rewatched Showgirls many times, and I cannot stand that movie. Like, it is a horrible, grindingly offensive movie, just to your eyeballs the whole time. And I fight with the idea that this is on purpose from him. He's holding a mirror to America that's so clear that I can't take it. I just can't take it. Like everything about that movie is the most awful thing. And that's how I feel about Ready Player One. Because like, especially when you bring up, like, the characters in that movie are hateful, selfish, awful characters.
Right? In Ready Player One.
They're hideous people, and they're selfish people, and their solution is, maybe we should, like, and the solution in the end of the movie is like, let's be rich, hideous, selfish people. I was like, you're terrible, right?
Right.
They have in the movie, they have the Iron Giant using his laser beam to kill hundreds of people.
That's what the Iron Giant does, right?
I'm sure that Spielberg is very aware that the one thing you know about the Iron Giant is that he doesn't want to kill anybody at all. He's built to be a weapon, but he wants to be Superman and kill no one, right? And then The Shining. So, as you pointed out, he intentionally, like, Kubrick's his friend, got him to make AI. They've known each other since 1979 or whatever, 78.
Mm-hmm.
He puts The Shining in the movie when it's not in the original novel, Ready Player One.
Oh, it is.
Like, this is, like, I'm sure it's referenced, but this scene, this challenge scene is all about remembering the lines to War Games, I think. Well, I think it's War Games.
Okay.
Like, this, turning The Shining into Disney's The Haunted Mansion is not in the book. Then that's what happens.
Right.
And like, it absolutely, he purposely poisons and degrades and mocks one of the great works of American art by one of the greatest American film artists who was a friend of his.
Right.
So I don't think the movie is what it seems. I think that movie is saying something else, but it's the showgirls of his career. Like, I think that he is disgusted by what it represents, and he made that as hard as he could, and I find it unwatchable. And I think that it may be, at least, like, I may be way off base, but that is, I'm just like, there's no way he makes AI and then makes this seriously. Like, he's at least partially aware of what he is asking of the audience in this.
Right.
You know, because AI is as anti-Spielberg consumerism as it could possibly be, and sees it as the ending of the world. And then he's like, but what if it wasn't? What if it was great and we betrayed everything we cared about? So, like, this is the zone where, like, I'm never going to forget the John Ford David Lynch connection, because now I'm suspicious of everything that Spielberg shows us from now on. And with Disclosure Day, I think what he is doing is he is riding that same line. And I think what, for many people, like, this is their showgirls. Like, this is like Minority Report, super weird, but the fun makes up for the weird. AI, heady, beautiful. I can't connect with it. I don't know why, but it's fine. It's heady and beautiful. Like,
sure.
It's not right. War of the Worlds, everything explodes. It's great. I don't have to read into anything about this. It's fantastic.
But I think that's what everyone goes into a Spielberg film wanting to eat their popcorn.
Right. This one, I think, if I were to be critical, clearly didn't judge that line as well as he has in other instances. And because people's reaction to it, especially, I would say, people under 30 or 35, like, pretty broad group. But I mean, like, the younger half of movie going dumb, right? It has just doesn't buy it, right? And they're not buying it on the face of it, right? And they think it's a garish mistake by Spielberg, and he must be getting too old, and maybe he was never any good, and all this stuff. But there's an energy to their anger, and this isn't everybody, but the vocal ones. There's an energy to the anger that I think is really interesting, because I think they protest too much.
Well, let's bring that up, because I think this is a thing. You know, people seem to want to say, I am this stance.
Yes.
Right? I am this stance, and therefore this is what I believe. And therefore, people are so black and white nowadays that they feel like they have to make a stand, and then they'll just
They got to stick to it.
Stick to it,
Yeah.
put their heels down on the ground and say, this is how I believe, and blah, 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 blah. And I'll go with that, right?
Right.
Like, I'm gonna talk about this in another podcast we'll record shortly but I'm gonna spoil it here real quick. It's like we recorded a podcast about Oblivion and Backrooms, and I made a comment and I put a little short about it. I was like, how it's amazing how everyone keeps talking about how they need to, use tax subsidies and AI to save the film industry, right? Mm-hmm. And I said, look at this movie. They use no tax subsidies and no AI, and they did it for under $1 million, right. And it's successful, right?
Right.
And the comment we got in one of our YouTubes was, for someone who's bashing AI, you used AI music for your your intro, right?
Yeah,
so.
Right.
And it's true. We have been using AI music for all of our intros, right? And it's because I just don't even want to commit to because I don't want to commit to a theme song, right? Yeah. I want to be different. I want everything to be different. And I don't care.
It's sort of interesting.
And it's like a throwaway song and I don't care, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to take away from anyone. I don't want to pay for a new song for everything. So I'm just going to make an AI version of it. Doesn't matter. What's interesting is that they interpreted what I said, which is, look, you can make a movie without AI. Right. They interpret that as me saying I am anti-AI. I never said I'm anti-AI.
No, there's
but they for someone who says who's dismissing AI,
people need to be in a camp. Like
you need to be in a
safe
camp
by being in a camp, and right? I don't mean to speak for both of us, but I think you're going to agree. Okay. Our camp is make things good. Like make good movies. Like that is your one job. Like do the things that helps you make good movies.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. This is interesting. Does this help? Does this help us make movies? I don't care how
something's made as long as it's good.
I'm sorry to burst the bubble, folks, but everything we do is a magic trick, and magicians use every fucking trick in the book to trick you. That's what our job is. I don't know why people get
so wrapped up in trying to pretend that magic is what it is, right?
Yeah.
And they're just talking about how, like, this happened again, right? There's all this conversation with all these movie stars talking about the Odyssey, and then like how it was all practical and in cameras. Like, would you stop it?
Yeah. Can we break this down for just a second? Because I know that, this is so easy to go off on a rant, but I'll try and keep it trim. All right. Let me explain to the audience, because I understand not everybody here is in visual effects.
Sure.
However, in that we have worked in visual effects for 30 years or something like this, 25 years, there isn't anything that you see ever in any sense that is made by any studio that doesn't use CG. That's the truth. Every single thing you see, every single thing that is produced uses CG somehow. And if we pulled back the curtain to reveal the amount of CG that you see on a daily basis.
And if someone tells you it's not, they are lying.
They're lying. They're
lying because they feel that you believing it is going to make you buy a ticket.
Yes, because this definitely leads back to Disclosure Day. We'll come back around to it. But here's the fact, okay? Like, the job of doing great visual effects is to trick you into thinking there's no visual effects, right? And
the job of any movie making.
The job of making a movie is to make you, is to seduce you into a mindset in which you forget that you're watching a movie.
They literally called it the invisible style because you felt like you were just there and you never sensed that it was a movie itself.
This is what you pay us for. That's what you pay us for. This is the stuff that I love, that you get, that you become so immersed in the trick that you experience the magic. Like, that's what a magic trick does. It's not that you don't know that David Copperfield isn't using mirrors. Like, of course he is using mirrors. Magic, technical magic doesn't exist. But the magic that we're aiming for is the stuff in you that is feeling. Like, that's it. We want to convince you that even though you know it's made by cameras and VFX people and blah, 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 and these are actors and it's all fake, we want to put you in a state that makes you believe with your emotions that it is real. Like, it's emotionally real, and you forget all that other stuff because you're engaging with yourself. And that's what the magic is you. That is the authenticity that we are looking for. That's what it is.
If I'm looking at the Odyssey and I'm looking at the giant scene and I'm saying, I can't believe they shot this for real, you're taken out of the story. That's not the story. The story isn't for you to think about how they shot this scene.
Exactly.
The story is what is happening in the scene.
If the quality of the visual effects mattered at all, Star Wars would be a terrible movie now instead of a really good movie. Because the effects are awful. Like the effects are awful.
Shaolin Soccer. Hilarious, amazing film.
But they're incredible movies. Like that's the whole idea. And so like the incredibleness of movies is that you can be like that you can forget literally everything about your experience and give yourself over as a consciousness to this hallucination and then have feelings and cry and all this stuff. It's the greatest trick in the world. It's amazing. That is the magic. That's the authenticity, right? And so when people say CG ruins movies, right? What they're really saying is this movie fucking stinks, and I'm looking for something to hang it on.
Yes,
that I
and
can
they'll hang it on the CG because they don't want to hang it on Spielberg.
Explain it, right? Exactly. So, like, what's wrong with this movie is the bad CG scorpion half man played by The Rock looks terrible. That's why the movie is bad. No, that is not why the movie is bad. If the movie were incredible, you'd be way more forgiving of that Scorpion King.
Right.
But the movie itself is bad, and so now you're looking for things to pick on. Right. So you can talk about why it is bad. But the reason why it's bad is because you can't believe it. Like you can no longer believe in the movie. And now you're looking at things to pick on. When in reality, as I was saying, you see flawless, completely effective CG all the time. You do not know it's there. That's what we do.
Put it this way myself, right? When Disclosure Day, spoiler, when you see the animals in Disclosure Day, I was like, something's off about it. Right. And I was like, and then I realized they're supposed to be off.
This movie,
they are not animals.
This is the third act, the Spielbergian rug pull.
Right.
Is that the third act of this movie? Instead of saying it's a dream, it's saying it's a dream. It's the movies. You're in the movies.
Right.
Like here, then there's all spoilers. Like after the big journey, right? They arrive. Like Emily Blunt arrives at the place where she's been called to go to, and what is it? It's a movie set.
It is.
It is literally a movie set.
Yes.
And in that, they say, "We thought we would build this for you, so you could have an emotional release through this fiction we present." This is literally what they say.
It's a movie.
It's a fucking movie. You're watching a movie
of your own life.
Yes, we're trying to put these truths into a context which isn't scary for you. So we have these things that might fucking freak you out, but we're going to wrap them in the costumes of these cute little Disney animals. And now you won't be so frightened anymore. And what the movie is saying, right, is, so it turns out you spend, as a person watching this movie, 90% of your day, you spend afraid. Almost all of your day, you spend afraid. Why? Because you doom scroll. You're on your phone. Like if you see, like you look, I don't know if you have an iPhone, but it tells you how many hours you spend. That freaks me out every time it comes up. It's just like, you spent at least, 60 hours of screen time this month. I'm like, Jesus Christ, what am I doing? What's wrong with my life that I'm doing that?
Right.
We all do this. We all go on social media, and we all, the dominant topic, very to generalize what the dominant topic on social media is, it's terror. Like
that's what sells ads.
Yes, that is, we are afraid of everyone all the time.
You're much more likely to keep scrolling through scary stuff.
Yes.
If you're happy, you have no reason to scroll anymore.
There's no
you can actually
money
just
in it.
Go up and you can continue with your life and do fun things.
Right.
But if you're scared, you're going to keep scrolling.
Right. And so
what happens in back rooms, you keep going down the hallway.
You keep on going down the hallway. Exactly. Even though you're fucking yourself, you keep going to the next room. Like, let's scroll and scroll and scroll. But this is in a movie, in Disclosure Day, which is strangely 90s-ish, strangely like in a world as if like social media doesn't exist. It's not like it doesn't exist in the movie, but it's just like, it's not present in the movie. It's the thing that feels absent and strange. Like, I believe that...
Yeah, like broadcast TV is really a big thing. It's not.
Yeah, it's a big fucking thing when everyone knows that it's not. Somebody on Spielberg's crew, like, is spending an awful lot of time on how much we trust broadcast TV when we don't, you know? Like,
exactly.
This is a movie made by grown-ups. Somebody said that to him. I promise you. Like, that definitely happened, you know? And so...
Why isn't this on Facebook instead of like
exactly.
CBS? Yes,
exactly. And then the movie seems to structurally make a big point out of you missing this particular element, right?
Right.
And then it reveals to you that what you've been watching is a movie.
Right.
Like, and in the almost most direct ways, more so than he symbolically did in Close Encounters, where basically Richard Dreyfuss ends up on a fucking movie set. Like, he all but ends up on a movie set in the end of that. But it still looks cool and interesting enough that you can... I know Francois Truffaut, one of the great filmmakers of the world, is the guy who's looking for the aliens, but I'm sure it's nothing to do with movie making, guys. You know, like,
right.
Yes. Now he's making it even more explicit and saying, you are watching a film. You're Tom Cruise. You have woken up, and you think you have woken up, and we're opening the door, and it's the we show you the Wizard of Oz. Well, now it's the opposite. It's you are in the Wizard of Oz, and we are showing you the doorway into the fucking set beyond that. Like, this is a put on for you to think about something, right? And the central tenet of the movie is that what Colin Firth is the heart of this. He is terrified of the aliens. He does not want to use, like, I will not. The last thing I'm going to do is empathize with the fucking aliens. Like, they may kill us, and so we should probably torture them first. Right. Now...
Yeah, but he gives up, like, very suddenly out of nowhere.
Yeah. Like
that was the thing. A lot of people like, what the hell?
And he just sort of sits down and is defeated, right? Like,
right.
I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that this movie is not about aliens at all.
No.
I think that this movie is about the fact that we are fucking terrified of each other. I think that we are terrified. We are in such protected little camps, and we have been encouraged so much to think that everyone in the country and in the world wants to kill us.
Yes.
Wants to kill us. Not just as against us, not as not voting against us.
Yeah.
Half the country wants you dead, actually dead. Right. Not fucking around, actually dead. They want to destroy your family. They want to destroy your life. They want to destroy America. They're terrorists, and they're here. Now, I could be talking to either side.
The same argument goes. Yep.
Yeah, doesn't matter. Like, but they want you dead. That is what we are emotionally convinced of. So much so that we view everyone else as aliens, as terrifying aliens. Like, and if you look at the metaphor of the film, like, okay, let's reveal it. So it turns out you're watching a movie, and the aliens in this movie are a metaphor for other people. Like, imagine if you had the empathy enough to not imagine in your worst fears are come true. Like, what if we put this mask over the people you're scared of, and we made them like big-eyed aliens that you can watch a movie about? Or if you exist in the world of Disclosure Day, they're not big-eyed aliens. They're sweet woodland animals. We wrap the skin around. Like, the metaphor is the same, and it's asking you to think about the movie the same way.
What if Joe Rogan was a bunny rabbit?
Yes, yeah, like Joe. Like, what if Joe Rogan were just a regular jerk capitalist who's trying to make a buck, and he's scaring the shit out of you so he can sell some shit. Right. Maybe that's what's happening.
It's called Alex Jones, but that's
Alex Jones. Exactly. What if your Trump supporting uncle actually cared about his family for real?
And he does.
And he does. Like, what if you were a human and you had that much in common with him? Like, it's not necessarily unscary, but there's common ground that you can actually work with. What if that were true? And what if you didn't write them off entirely?
I do believe that, because, I do have this thing, right? When you talk to someone Like at least I feel this, right? And I think this is the problem. I talk to someone that I don't know, right? That is a feeling like,
yeah, like
who is this person? Is this, and it's almost like, is this person someone that supports Trump or doesn't support Trump?
Isn't
that weird that you think that in the back of your mind?
Everybody's got these tells and tags, and
right.
And you talk to somebody you've ever talked to before, like you not only feel them trying to analyze you, you feel the pressure to give them some sort of sign as to what group you belong to.
Right.
Don't worry, I'm not a space alien. I'll say some vague.
I'll say
statement,
something to make you feel safe.
Make you feel safe. I need for you to know that you're safe, as opposed to me just believing that you're a person and you're probably. Sure. I'll give you the room to think that you're not an insane person that's going to murder me.
Right.
But now we have to, present special signs and little shibboleths to make sure that we are safe with one another. And suddenly we're in the realm of Dakota Fanning and War of the Worlds.
Right.
And like where it's just like we need our safe spaces and we have to be afraid of this terrible world all around us again.
Yeah.
And that's why I said that I think that this is the counterpoint to the AI War of the Worlds experience, where everything is terrible and everyone is bad. Like this is him saying, I'm still going to tell it in my weird way, but I'm not always saying it's a nightmare. I'm saying it's sometimes scary.
Sure.
But we do have to start trusting each other a little bit, and we have to start listening to each other more. And which is the literal last line of the film, just like listen, like actually spend time listening.
I know for a fact, I have a friend of ours who's a very strong Republican, is terrified of people knowing that he's a Republican.
Sure.
Because he feels that he will be treated horribly by people.
And he's right.
And he's right.
Completely right.
And I try to tell him, it's like, you should be okay to talk about your opinions. It's like, and I disagree with him everything politically, right? Strongly, right?
Yeah.
Which is totally fine. I'm not trying to say that I'm right and he's wrong. I just disagree with him. But he's a great person. He's a fantastic artist. He's an amazing person to hang out with. And I think it's healthy for us to have conversations about these things, but he's too scared to do it. And I don't blame him for being scared. He's right to be scared, right?
Yeah, because it can cost you your business.
It can cost you business.
This goes both ways. I've been across the country. It works both ways.
Yeah, and I'm sure people feel the same way in different situations, and that's not right. And so I think
it certainly doesn't help. Like it doesn't help anyone, right?
And if you obviously right now it's almost impossible to make a movie that doesn't have that concept of alienation, right?
Yeah.
Because
in a way, this is what Obsession is about. In a way, this is what Backrooms is about. Like these are the same fears that are trying to be dealt with, right? But Spielberg just like takes it head on, like wraps it up in a metaphor and plows right at you, right? And then reveals that it's a metaphor to make you confront it even more directly, right? And like removes the illusion of the movie and then tells you what it means. But that's what people don't like. And I've heard the few people that I've heard sort of recognize that this is a movie about empathy, the superpower of empathy that it literally is in the film. Like they are angry that he would pitch such a dangerous idea. Like
as empathy.
No, I mean, I've heard it straight out. Empathy is dangerous. I'm like, it's the only thing that can save us. Period. I know it's scary, but it's the only thing that can save us.
Really, people have a problem with empathy?
100%. Like I've had outright conversations in which empathy is very tricky and you have to be very careful.
So Gandhi was a bad person.
Yeah. Because I'll tell a generalized version of this argument, right?
Sure.
Is that say that you have, pick whatever conflict you like, say like if we were talking about Ireland in the 1970s, if we lived in that world, right?
Sure.
Like the argument goes something like this is like, listen, empathy is a trap because it can get you can care so much about the suffering that has happened to people that are doing bad that you end up being on their side even though they're doing bad. And I'm like, that is not empathy, that's sympathy. This is a different thing, right? And when you sympathize with someone, that means you have had this experience and you sympathize
empathy is you
with
had
them.
the experience.
No, empathy is you understand that they are having a feeling that you have had. Empathy is when you say, you are a human and I understand what it's like to be frightened. That's empathy.
Right.
Right. I know what it's like to be in love. I don't know what it's like to be in love with the person you're in love with, but I know what it's like to be in love generally. And like, I bet it's the same as the person I'm in love with.
Right.
That's empathy. Right. Like it's saying that like, no matter what your situation is, I assume that you are a human being.
Sure.
And I'm going to take that part for granted. So we don't have to do this weird mating dance to get close to one another.
Right.
Like that we can just say like, listen, I don't know what your background is. I don't know why, for instance, you did this violence, but I bet it's for reasons that in another context I would understand.
Right.
Like that's what empathy is. And people are afraid of it because having empathy, not because it can it can lead you to do bad things, but rather it might scare you out of the group that you're in. Like it might make you scary to people in your group. And so if you say like, well, actually I was thinking, like I was talking about this political conflict somewhere, and I actually saw the point of view of such and so, right? And if you are on the wrong side of that, people are like, oh, now I have to be afraid of you.
Right. And basically it's like exactly what we were just talking about with someone making a comment about, you said you were anti-AI, but yet
you said you were anti-AI,
but
you used, right.
And that's like, not the case.
I'm not sure why we have to be so black and white about this, but I have complex opinions about this.
Right.
Maybe that would be interesting to talk about.
Right.
Instead of like, we have to divide ourselves into camps and destroy each other.
Right.
And I think that this movie very, very directly asks us to not do that. And that is, at its root, terrifying. I think that is just terrifying. When you say, like, what if you were to trust that a Republican was a human being? Like, would you be able to do that? That an actual human who cared about their family?
Right. Or a Democrat.
Yeah. What if you were to trust that a Democrat didn't want to destroy America or your family or turn your son gay? What if your son came to you and said, listen, I was exposed to this material, it made me think, and I realized that the feelings I'm having are actually genuine and I am gay. What would you do? Is that terrifying to you? It shouldn't be.
Right.
But because of the group that you're in, that is getting more and more rigid about its beliefs and more demanding about what membership rules are. Like
you're afraid, just like our friend, you're afraid that if you say something, you will no longer have friends.
Yeah. And this is why, for instance, the Republicans are fracturing, because they're the people that are super afraid of the LGBTQs versus people that just wanted easier taxes. Like
I understand that maybe you want to cut your taxes. There's nothing wrong with wanting to cut your taxes.
like that's why that's happening, because because once you're on that team, it's hard to, like, you'll lose all your friends if you're not on the team anymore. And this movie is explicitly saying, what if we are actually all in this together? What if no teams? Right. What if we listen to each other? And I think that is so successful.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, let's just be clear, right? The movie itself is, we're about to go to freaking war and about to engage the war. And then this news of the aliens comes in and interrupts everyone and forces everyone to come together.
Yes.
Forces everyone to see, everything we knew about the world was wrong.
Yes.
And therefore, I agree.
The other is not as terrifying as we thought.
I don't have time for this shit.
Yeah. Right.
And in fact, that did happen on 9/11. 9/11, we all came together.
Yeah, for a very brief window.
For a very brief window.
Yeah. Before it was monetized.
When people were, I remember people were flying their American flags outside their windows after 9/11. It didn't matter what party you were from. You all felt American.
As solidarity with other people in America, because we believe in each other.
Right.
And care about one another, which is true.
Right.
and not in a militaristic fuck the rest of the world way, but rather
no. It's like, no, this was bad. We felt bad, right?
Yeah. And the thing is, like, because now I was,
but when it all went wrong for me is when someone said, "Why did they do this?" And their interpreters, because they hate our freedoms.
They hate our freedoms.
I don't think that's the reason.
Well, this is like, I mean, okay,
sure,
but
you
what does
keep saying
that mean?
that word. I don't think it means what I think it means.
Yeah, exactly. Because like I now say that I was lucky enough. I was lucky enough to be on Manhattan for 9/11. And what I mean by lucky is that before that day, if you had asked me any big question about whether the human race would do the right or the wrong thing, given a massive stress, I would say we're probably selfish animals and we'd do the wrong thing. Turns out we would do the right thing. Like that happened, and all around us, everywhere on that entire island, everyone did their very best to do the right thing. That there wasn't much to be done, but everyone wanted very much to help each other. And it chokes me up even now. Like it was an extraordinary and profound experience to know that that's actually how humans react when really frightening things happen. And even with that, my feelings about the attackers, I was like, what kind of what do they believe that frightened them so badly that this seemed like the good guy thing to do to them? Like there's not a doubt in my mind they thought of themselves as heroes, absolute heroes,
right?
That were doing, they were striking a blow against evil. That's the only way they could have done it.
Because Americans don't. They cannot look in the mirror. They cannot see how other people see us.
Right. Well, the thing is, and this is not something that like I thought deeply about before then, you know, and what happened for me in that, like nothing of what I am saying means that what they did is right. But what I am practicing in saying this is empathy. I'm saying these are human beings, and the only way I can imagine both being a human being and doing what they did is to be so terrified and so angry and fearful that I feel like I must be a hero for killing these people. So their worldview is entirely different, but I assume that they're humans. So this disjuncture this is what we have to talk about.
Right.
Because if we just say they're space aliens, then shit, we might invade them for 20 years and kill 1 million people.
Right.
Which is what we did.
Right.
You know, and now we look back and we're like, well, that's kind of a mistake. They weren't even involved, those Iraqis.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, well. It's 1 million people that don't exist anymore because we were so freaked out. And now, like, that was us versus the people outside the United States.
Mm-hmm.
But now what has been monetized is us versus us.
Mm-hmm.
Like there is
that's because it sells a lot of ads on Facebook.
Yeah. Like, and the thing is, like, the reason, like, the people that funded the killers on 9/11, right? They weren't doing it. They weren't giving them the money because they had strong spiritual beliefs. They were giving them money because they knew they would make money on this.
Right.
Like that was a profitable move for them. That's why they did it. The people who did the killing, they were the believers.
Right. And the same thing with any political party. They're saying extreme things and convincing to do terrible things because they're.
And here we are. And here we are. Right. And so this is what I like. I think that if Disclosure Day had been made for, in the late 90s and made for the guys who flew the planes in the towers, like it would be saying, like, hang on, before you flip out and kill somebody, what if we were to look at the Americans as humans who don't understand what they're asking for every day by buying gas and putting gas in their cars and all this stuff? Like, that's what's hurting us. What if we had empathy enough to do that? Right. And if I were one of the true believers who was terrified of and angry at what they had done, I would have said, no, this is a terrible movie. It's humanizing these Americans when they're fucking aliens. We should destroy them.
Right.
And that is basically what I think has happened with this film. I don't think that we have become as extreme as those extremists, but we are infected with extremism. for the same reasons.
Sure.
Like it makes money for us to be terrified and to act against each other.
Yeah.
And this movie is saying, what if that's not true?
I know. So here's where it failed to me, the film, is that no one's going to pick up on any of that.
They certainly are not trying to think about it particularly hard.
No, they haven't picked up on any of it.
Yeah.
It's too much to ask for most people who go to a movie to see that, right? In order to make a political statement, you kind of have to spoon feed them like Don't Look Up. I always use that as my prime example for this. You just sort of spoon feed them the thing.
But that doesn't work.
No, it doesn't.
It's a terrible
movie. Yes.
Right.
And all it does is just makes you more divided. But anyway. Listen,
but this is a quick question. I'd like this because this is the heart of it, really. Because I'm sure that people heard what I just said and said well, that's a bit extreme to say 9/11 terrorists versus who we are today. But the fact is, I have talked to people who feel that the only way out of what we're at is violence.
Sure.
They're absolutely okay with political violence.
You know what movie actually does that specific interpretation really, really well?
What's
Little
that?
Drummer Girl.
Oh, yeah. And you don't have to sell me on John le Carré, my man. Absolutely.
Yeah, but he does that, right? He basically
Absolutely. Yes.
He will look at someone and it's what if...
Yeah. Really think about this, And so the question I have,
what would lead you to become a terrorist, and why would you actually believe that's right?
Why would you be? What would happen for you to do this? Right.
Yeah.
And so, the good miniseries, great movie. Watch these things; they're great. Read the book. The book is great. So the question I have for you then, here's the interesting thing to me, is that I feel like. Now, I don't think that Disclosure Day is Spielberg's greatest movie or anything like that, but I do think it's a really interesting movie that's very much worth talking about. I think that people...
Actually, I think Emily Blunt is the reason to see it. She's so good.
She's terrific. I think this is I've only seen it one time, but it made a big impact on me. We'll see where it settles out in the rankings, but it's a really interesting movie, and I think it's worth talking about. So that it made people mad, it makes it even more interesting to me. Right. So that's one thing. But I think it cuts down to one basic idea. Number one, I think it's talking about us in a way that makes us freaked out. Number two is that the fact that we're mad means it was successful somehow, right? And I'm not sure if it may be too fine a thing to thread to make this movie both widely accepted and not make people mad. I think the only thing it can do, really, if it's working, is make half the audience really mad because of what it's saying, and it's freaking them out. So that's one thing. But also, and this kind of cuts back to our earlier part of the conversation, is that we have been so involved in the way that we talk about film in terms of regular social media, right? The critiques against this movie are that it's not very realistic. I'm when the fuck did you ever go to a movie to experience reality?
Right.
When did that ever happen? That's not what movies are, guys.
That's the problem with Bumblebee, too.
Yeah, what are you talking about? What are we talking about? It's not realistic. Of course it's not realistic. It's a movie. It's a movie.
Yeah, there's a lot of, actually, that couldn't have happened.
Yeah, no shit, that's not, first of all, we don't know how we would react to aliens. We have no idea how we'd react to aliens. But, I understand what you're looking for is something that is comfortingly authentic to you. And this particular movie's agenda is contrary to that.
Listen, this is what aliens are supposed to do is distract us from the fact that the Epstein files exist. So that's all that's
voila. Mission accomplished, guys.
Mission accomplished. All right, listen. We could go on for hours, but obviously, I think we've made some strong points about this movie and not the film industry itself. We will continue a conversation about the general film industry soon. But I think as a movie, when you look at this movie and then you compare it to what we were talking about in our last drive. What am we calling these series of ones? The Moonshine Drive-ins.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it. I love it.
So when we're doing that with, you compare this to Obsession and everything else, I think having the pinnacle Spielberg oddness with the upcoming filmmaker, I think Spielberg probably looks at those up and coming filmmakers and says, thank God
Yeah, no kidding, man. He loves that. I mean, he loves those movies. He's like super pumped about these. Like,
I know.
He loves new talent as much as I love new talent. Like,
absolutely.
Show me the new stuff, man. That's what I'm here for.
Listen, I know that. I mean, he loves to be on set when new stuff is being made.
Yeah,
because like I know, like he spent a lot of time on set on Real Steel, and he was super excited about it.
That's so great, dude. Yeah, like this is the way that we should be. Is like because number one, like I don't celebrate Spielberg because like he's old school and I'm old school and I only want movies made a certain way. No, fuck no. I want movies to be made in fresh new ways. I love movies. Like,
and so does he, right? Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, so does he. And then so does, there's a lot of interesting people who think about that stuff. So, including Tom Cruise is a real love of film.
Yeah, the dude's a pro who loves movies. There's no two ways about it. He thinks about how to make them all the goddamn time. From everyone I've ever taught, I've never met him myself, but I know a lot of people who have worked with him, including you, and they all say the same thing. But that's tell you what, everybody have faith like that we are all in this because we love it. Like we're all in movies because we love it. The
only reason we're doing this podcast is because we love this stuff, right?
This is why we do this stuff. We are dedicated to it, whether it's, however it's made, with whatever it's made or whatever we're doing. We don't spend this much time jabbering about it unless it's the thing that monopolizes.
Yeah, but it's important. It's important. It's important. And it's an art form that has been sort of ignored. And I was rewatching The Studio, right? And they were talking about really shitty movies that he's created, right? And they're like, well, that's not art. And he goes, no, it's all art.
It's all art. All of it's art.
And I loved Seth Rogen's argument. And there's like, it's all art, right? Yeah. And he's arguing with oncologists who are being like mitered and God is like, well, we save lives, right? And listen, I'm not saying that doctors aren't amazing, but he's like, what's in every hospital room? A TV, because we need to be distracted by what is going on in our lives.
There's like, you don't like, and people know this.
It's a great line in that series.
Like being a snob about anything in any way, whether you're
including movies,
about being a snob about being movies, because you can be the classic snob of like, I only watch the finest old movies from 1933 and before. You can be like that if you want to, or you can be like, I only watch Bruce Willis movies and all their stupid baloney artsy fartsy stuff. That's also being a snob. Like, if you're being a snob, then you are distancing yourself from possible revelation and beauty. Don't do it. Embrace it.
I love it. I love everything. Man. I'll watch Scary Movie 3 and,
absolutely.
I don't know, good off.
Yeah, I got fucking Last Year at Marion Bad on over here. I got Young Frankenstein over here. I got Anchorman over here. Whatever. I don't give a shit. Doesn't matter. Like
so much fun.
Good is good. Good is good. And,
it's interesting. I was just talking about this with my nephew, and I was talking about The Good and Bad, the Ugly, and he's like, yeah, it's an okay movie, and I'm like, yeah. I was like, I love that movie, and I just remember that experience of us watching it with James Blevins, and James probably like, whatever, spaghetti western. And then you and I just went into it with every single scene. And he's like, I've never seen this movie with these eyes before. And I'm not saying that we have the right interpretation. It is, I think it's just the fact that we love movies.
The right interpretation is the one that gives you joy. That is the right interpretation.
The joy is what we have, right? And so we gave him our joy because we were so excited about it. And then we made him watch an extremely depressing film like Five Easy Pieces. And he was like, this is an amazing film.
Yeah, exactly. And he literally talked about it for a week after that. It made such a mark on him, which is another kind of joy. He's still talking about it. But like if Spielberg could hear me go off on what I the last act of all your movies is a dream, he's probably like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like who cares?
No, he'd probably do the same thing as he did for
he'd be like, he's found out. Get him.
Get him. But
figured it out. It is that whatever the joy is you get from it is the reason you're there. So open yourself up to that. Don't try to run away from it.
Yeah.
Like look for the new shit. Even if it's from the old dudes, look for the new shit. That's what I have to say.
Yep. All right, dude. Thank you so much. I will see you tomorrow.
All right. Thanks a lot. That was great.
Take care, man. Bye.